So what is hardening of seedlings or hardening off? Hardening off is the process of exposing seedlings gradually to outdoor conditions. It is the process of gradually preparing the seedlings to survive outdoor conditions. You know that when you start your seedlings, you start them indoors. You give them conditions that are suitable. They are not exposed to harsh conditions. But then, before you take them to the field, it's very important that you harden them off so that it's easier for them to thrive outdoors. Hardening off or seed hardening is a process that must be done gradually. If you don't do this process gradually, there is a great risk of losing the young and tender seedlings. The whole idea is to get the seedling ready for the new environmental change that it is going to experience, from a cozy and protected environment to harsher outdoor conditions. If you want to avoid or drastically reduce transplanting shock, then hardening off is the key. So what plants should be hardened off? What plants should a farmer gradually expose to outdoor conditions before finally taking them or transplanting them outdoors? The simple answer to that is that all vegetables that are grown indoors should be hardened off before transplanting so that the shock that they experience outside will be reduced. During hardening of seedlings undergo physiological changes which help them to cope with direct sunlight, temperature changes, and wind pressure. Therefore, seedlings that are grown inside the nursery should be hardened off before they now are allowed to gradually grow outside. Then, how is hardening off done? Hardening off should be done for 7 to 10 days. Some people do it a little longer, but ideally, any days between 7 to 10 days is just okay. Usually, you should start exposing the seedlings to environmental conditions that are not too harsh. Remember, I said earlier that this process should be a gradual process. So you need to gradually start exposing them to these conditions that are totally new to them. You can start off by exposing them under a shed. If you're growing them in a greenhouse where they experience a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of wind, and if possible, a little bit of rainfall. Then you can start also doing this exposure early in the morning and then gradually increasing the number of hours you expose them. You can start by exposing them 2 hours a day and then continue adding 2 hours to the number of time you expose them. That is to say, if the first day you're exposing from 8 a.m., you can stop the exposure at 10 a.m. and then do it for 4 hours the following day. You continue exposing them to these conditions until finally the last day you leave them outdoors for 24 hours. That way, when you do the transplanting, the shock that they experience is reduced or eliminated. Common errors to avoid while hardening of seedlings. Number 1 is starting the process of hardening off too early. Do not start the process when the seedlings are too young to be transferred outside, and it's also very important that you do not start the exposure when you are not ready yet to do your transplanting to the field. 2, exposing the young seedlings to direct harsh sunlight right away. So some people actually make the mistake of starting off with exposing the seedlings to direct harsh sunlight. It's important that you start the exposure to mild sunlight and then gradually increase the temperatures that they experience. So it's important, if you want to start, you can start off your hardening with morning sun and then gradually expose them to afternoon sun, which is actually harsher. 3, forgetting to water the seedlings while you are hardening up. So many farmers make the mistake of letting the seeds outside and then they don't water them as they should, as much as they should, while they are outdoors. So it's very important that you water as you should regularly before you expose them to sunlight. Number 4, Allowing heavy rainfall to beat the seedlings early on in the process. When you start off the hardening process, ensure that you don't allow the seedlings to stay under the rain. Make sure that if it is raining, they are not caught up by the rain. Make sure you take them indoors when it's about to rain, especially when you have just started the process of hardening off. And then finally, forgetting to take the seedlings inside at night. It is very, very important that when you start the process of hardening off and you want to take them out, during the night hours, you take them inside until the day you want to finally leave them to be exposed for 24 hours.